So I will do introductions today because I feel like it's my duty.
Sure.
He can't say anything because he's still watching Nashville, and I'm like watching. He's like, "Oh, what's happening in this episode?" I'm like, as
Oh,
if
what
I'm
are you
gonna
up
tell him.
to?
I think I'm on 110, but I've seen the entire thing, so it's just a rewatch. But I don't know what Lee's on.
I'm on episode 5, I think, the series
Yeah,
one.
I'm on
Oh,
10.
it just started. Okay.
So welcome to the Double L show. We're here with Rainee Blake, and this is like so weird because I remember you followed us and I actually thought it was a mistake at one point. It was after I put my purple wig on and I was like, what? I'm like, no. I'm like, this is not real. So thank you for following us all this time.
That's okay. Yeah, of course.
So you pretty much do it all, acting, singing, songwriting, and now kind of like well-being and spirituality. How do you manage your schedule? Because I could never.
It's tricky. Yeah, I think part of being an artist or being working for myself, being people who work for themselves, entrepreneurs or artists or whoever, you have to design your own schedule and you have to be able to make money and survive and do all the things and do the things that make you happy. So it is tricky, but that's part of the reason why I started my teaching practice and my coaching practice is so that I had more consistency in my week, because often if you're like going from acting job to acting job or gig to gig or tour to tour, your life is like very inconsistent. And that's kind of comes with the territory. So I try to weave in some kind of routine as much as I can. I find the routine helps me to stay grounded and get on top of all the things that I'm trying to do. So
That's a good idea. I definitely could use like an actual schedule. Mine's just a
it's
calendar full
nice.
of stuff that I'll end up
Yes.
never doing.
Right. That's true.
You started in acting. Where did your passion come from? Were you influenced by those around you to pursue it, or?
So both my mum and my mum's mum are actresses. Well, my grandmother's not alive anymore, but I actually took her last name. Her name was Leela Blake, and I changed my last name to Blake kind of in honor of her. She was an actress and a director and a writer, and then yeah, so it kind of runs in the genes. It runs in my family. So all the women on my mum's side. So that really inspired me, and even though I begged my mum to get me an agent when I was a kid, she was resistant at first. So she wasn't like one of those typical like stage mums. But she could see how much I loved it, and so I kind of just developed from there. Studied and learnt from my friends and teachers, and learnt a lot on the job. I worked quite a bit in Australia before I moved over here. I moved here 6 years ago to stay.
Wow, it's a long time.
I'm old, you guys.
We feel old now. A lot of people are just like, oh, remember that thing? Yeah, it was like 15 years ago. What? No, it was not 15 years ago.
I know it's terrifying. As soon as things get over a decade, you're like, oh my God,
And
what
people
the
have
hell?
no idea what it is. That's where
Hmm.
it gets scary. People are like, who are the
Totally.
Beatles? Who are these people? And you're like, what? Like, how have you never heard of these people? The legends. Everyone should know who they are.
I mean,
Yeah.
if people don't know who the Beatles are, like that's just sad. So,
It really is. It's just like an uncultured.
yeah, exactly.
Did you go to drama school?
I didn't go to formal, like, I didn't do like 3 or 4 years or whatever, but I studied a lot with different teachers and kind of shorter courses and things like that. So I really enjoy studying, and I've worked with a lot of great teachers, but I didn't go the traditional route, go to drama school. Sometimes I wish I did, but whatever. You make decisions when you're young, and I did go to
Yeah.
uni. I studied music at uni, so
Yeah, I was like that. I was like, do I go down that route? And then I was like, oh, media sounds very good. And then I just ended up
right.
torn right in the middle. And then music
Yeah.
come into things, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is a very hard thing. What do I do?
It is really hard, especially when you're 18 or 19 or whatever. You don't know really who you are yet or what's going to be important, what's going to matter to you, once you turn 25, I feel like things start to take shape a little bit more. But isn't that what they
Yes,
say?
for
That's
me.
when your brain fully forms.
Yeah. What made you move to America?
So my dad is American, so I have dual citizenship. So I kind of always thought that I would move here eventually. It was just kind of a matter of time, and the timing felt right. I got really close to booking a big TV job. Like I got a call back and everything, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I could do this. And yeah, it was just a process of making it work after that.
Lee, you can ask some questions.
So you did have a bit of 2 episode role in Home and Away, and I'm big. I was a massive fan of Home and Away back then. So
Oh,
I'm
really?
all day today. I've been trying to think like, do I remember that episode? And I'm thinking, just trying to rack my brain. How did you
Yeah.
get that role in Home and Away?
It was a tiny role. I doubt you would remember me. I played the school captain. I mean, I guess I was technically that sounds like a big role, but it wasn't. I played the school captain, and I think I was like 16 or 17, something around that. Anyway, I had an agent already, so I just auditioned and got the job. I did a few little TV kind of guest role parts on some Australian shows when I was in high school.
Is that all your questions, Lee?
No. So,
So
how
cute.
did you land the role on Nashville? Like, how did that come about?
So I do a Joni Mitchell like tribute show kind of thing where I play Joni Mitchell and I have a great wig. So stay tuned for the wig. If maybe I'll pull it out later. No, I'm just kidding. So I do a show about Joni Mitchell, and I was doing that in LA when I first moved here because it's a really great kind of way to showcase my skills. And the casting director from Nashville was there, just happened to be there. Well, no, didn't. I mean, my manager invited him. And then, yeah, I got an audition from there, I think. And then, yeah, I did the whole, there was like 4 or 5 different auditions that I had to do to get the job, including like, I had to learn some songs and do some scenes and yeah, and then I booked it, and then they flew me out there like almost straight away. So it all happened really quickly.
Were you a fan
That's really cool.
beforehand?
No, I wish I could say I was. I had seen a couple episodes here or there, but I obviously watched a lot. Like once I booked the job, I binged almost the whole thing, and yeah, so
I can't
yeah.
ask the next question because that's already been answered. Did you find it really hard coming in, like for the last season? Because obviously there would be a lot of bonds already there.
Yeah, yes and no, because I think because after everybody moved to CMT, like they were with ABC, the network, they were with ABC first, and then they moved over to CMT after the fans were like, bring it back. So after that happened for season 5 and 6, there was a different energy on set. I mean, this is just what I've heard from Sam and other people. So you have a different energy on set where it was kind of felt like a new show, and there was a new showrunner and some new writers, and so it had some new energy to it. And I think it wasn't because they'd been doing it for so long as well, 6 years. I mean, can you imagine? It's like there was a brevity, like a lightness, and everyone was so welcoming and sweet. Honestly, it was really lovely. People were really kind, and I got to like make out with a bunch of people. So you'll have to wait. You'll have to wait and see that, Lee. Although I won't spoil anything. I won't tell you who I make out with.
It'll be a surprise.
Yeah.
It'll be a surprise, but you'll be like bracing for the kissing.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not
So
going to
everyone was
spoil
super
some of
nice.
it. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut about people dying and stuff.
Oh, nobody dies. It's fine. Everybody's alive.
He should know because he's seen a clip, so he should have.
I have. I know at least
Yeah.
one of the deaths.
I think most people know at least one of the deaths. Yeah, it's true.
How would you describe Alannah for those who don't know?
Slutty, hot, mean. No, she's kind of slutty, but no, she's strong. She's sensitive. She has some history, like in her relationships, that keeps her kind of guarded. So I think maybe guarded might be something more like subtle that you realize. She's really talented. She's driven and she's tough, if you know what I mean. We won't spoil it for Lee. Something pretty cool happens at the end where we had to get a stunt coordinator on set to help with, which was pretty
All
cool.
of stunts.
Oh,
I mean, it was like a
sounds
very
amazing.
small stunt, but it was still like they had to like teach me how to do. I won't say what it is, but yeah. So she was a great character to play, and it was really fun having the purple hair and they gave me clip-ins, you know, like extensions that made my hair's kind of thin, so they made my hair thick. So it was kind of like putting on a wig, and it kind of it's really fun to have props or costumes or hair and makeup that help you kind of embody the character more. So it was a really fun element that we had.
I feel like she really stood out though, because when you think of like Nashville, you think of everyone being like cowgirl boots and just like the
Right.
stereotype, whereas she was very different.
She was very different. Yeah, she was unique for sure.
Did you struggle to get the purple hair out? Because I've had purple hair and it went blue, it went turquoise, it went
Did you?
green, it just went insane.
It's a lot of upkeep. Luckily, I had an amazing hair and makeup team who would kind of redo it I think like almost every week they would touch it up because the dye comes out really easily. So I didn't have to do that, thank God. But I did dye my hair purple like a few years before I booked the job, and the showrunner actually saw a photo of me with that hair, and then they decided to make me have purple hair. So I know the struggles. It's a lot of upkeep.
Yeah,
It's
I
no
still
joke.
wish I had that wig that was like that. The
Yeah.
purple one. What was your favourite song of Alannah's?
Oh God, there's so many good ones. I really like this one. It's called Sorry Now. I've been listening to that recently. It's beautiful and haunting and gorgeous. There's lots of good ones though, so it's kind of hard to say.
How do you listen to yourself back? That's what I'm like. I can never do that.
I don't very often, but I was in Australia on tour doing a bunch of gigs, and I wanted to play some Nashville songs in the show. So I was kind of like listening again, and it depends. Occasionally, if I'm showing people, like if I've got new music out and I'm like, check out my song, then the excitement and energy of having just completed something often takes the pressure away from being cringing at your own voice or whatever.
Yeah, I need to learn to just like not even worry about that.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, it really is. Like every time I hear myself back, it's like a cat, like just
When
like
you're
clawing.
singing or or when you're speaking or both?
Both.
Right, okay. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a really good thing to practice though, because you have it's a good thing to think about in terms of your self-love journey, because you know, if you're always cringing at the sound of your voice, it might reveal something a little deeper about how you view yourself in general. So it's a good practice. It's hard, but it's a really helpful practice to listen to yourself back.
Yeah, I'll try and give it a go.
There you go.
It's also weird because when you hear yourself on like playback, your voice of how you hear yourself in your head is always going to be so different to how it is on video. So you'll be like, oh, you have this idea of how you sound because you hear yourself talking every day, and then you like watch something back and you're like, I don't sound like that, do I?
It's very, very strange, but you get used to it. That's for sure. The more you do it, the easier it is.
Oh, this one's going to be really hard. What was your favorite song from the show?
I was thinking about this. There's so many good songs. It's ridiculous. There's like, I don't know how many songs.
Over
Hundreds.
200.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. There was even in my season, like, you know, it's like 5 songs an episode, basically. It's just like, how the fuck? Frankie Pine is the incredible music supervisor who worked on the show, who's also now working on Daisy Jones and the Six.
Oh,
Little trivia.
I definitely need to watch
And
that.
I need to watch it too, but I just saw like she popped up in an interview and I was like, oh my God, Frankie. And Tim Lauer, who's the producer as well on the show. I'm going on a tangent. I'm just trying to give kudos to the people who are responsible for the amazing music. Jake Etheridge, who was another new cast member who played, I don't remember the name of the character, like the war vet guy in the last season who was kind of hanging out with Claire. Yeah, he is an amazing songwriter, and he has this song. This is very niche, but he has a song called "Bring Me an Angel" in the last season that I just really love and breaks my heart every time I listen to it. But I know that's really niche. I like a lot of the Scarlett and
Gunnar.
Scarlett and Gunnar songs. They're beautiful. All of the duo songs are gorgeous. So this is just my brain like waking up right now. Like
That's what I'm like. When you
I
remember
know.
one thing, you remember the rest.
You're like, how do I forget something that obvious? Anyway, so many good songs. Hard to say. That's my final answer.
Who was your favorite character?
My favorite character. Oh God, I don't know. Me? I mean, yeah. I really like Juliet. I mean, she's complicated and a complete mess, but I think that her arc, sort of how she grows in the show, is really beautiful and interesting to watch.
Trying to avoid all the spoilers.
I know I'm doing well, I think.
Yeah, you look at it. I don't know why some of these. I'm like, did you write any songs for the show?
I did. I wrote one song called "Treading Water," which appears in, I don't know, episode 12 or 11. I can't remember, the last season. And it was really fun. I wrote it with my friend Frankie Zwick, and yeah, it's a beautiful song. I always play that song when I'm touring. I usually, that's the one that I play. So yeah.
That's a hard one. That one's practically answered. Did the show influence your own music?
Definitely. I learned so much from working in the studio and learning from other songwriters who come through to write songs for the show, and just the process, of being in the studio taught me so much and makes me want to just be in the studio all the time. So
Lee, it's your turn if I haven't answered.
You've actually asked about 3 questions I already had.
Yeah,
so I'm going to go. So I think I've got about 2 left now. So what was it like working on Nashville? Like, how was the other actors? Were they good to get along with? Did you make many friends?
Yeah, everyone was really nice. Like I said, I'm still in touch with Sam, who plays Gunnar. And I made friends. I mean, everyone's really friendly. The crew was amazing as well. And a lot of the songwriters. I ended up really enjoying being in the city of Nashville and making friends and playing gigs and meeting a lot of other songwriters in the city who are incredible. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I got to live there and have my own place, and they gave me a nice car. It was great. I was like living the dream.
Sounds good.
That's pretty good.
So you do say you do kind of teaching. Would you say the Zooms? Would you say you prefer doing over like Zoom, or would you prefer in person? Like, which one would you prefer? Because I know you do a lot on the Zoom. Do you get a chance to do in person at all?
I do. I mean, nothing's gonna beat in person. It's just it's nothing beats it. It's the best. It's really nice to have. I said the teaching I do is kind of voice and creative coaching, and it's really holistic. It's kind of looking at your whole body as your instrument, including your spiritual body, your physical body, your mental body, all of the things to help you be in alignment so that you can be a creative person and speak your truth and sing your truth and perform and write and all the things, depending on the person that I'm working with. It's very tailored to each person's individual desires and goals and things. So when I have people come here, this is my apartment, I live in Venice, it's great because I get to see their body in motion and see how they're breathing correctly and things like that, which you can do on Zoom too, but not as well. It's not as good, but I do it on Zoom and I love it. And I teach workshops on Zoom and everything. And the good thing about Zoom is that you can be anywhere in the world. So I have students in Europe and the UK and in Australia, all over. So it's nice to be able to connect with people no matter where they are. It's pretty amazing.
I'm just looking at the plant because there's like a heart on one of the leaves.
Is there? Wait,
Yeah.
I don't have my self view on. Let's see. Oh, over here on the right. Oh, on the left. Oh, yeah. Those little heart leaves. They're cute, aren't they?
Yeah, it's just
Good
so
spot.
aesthetic. How did you get
Sorry, that's my
started?
internet.
That's the question.
With my plants?
With everything spiritual, because I know we talked in the past about like, I think crystals and like oracle cards, if I'm not wrong. It was a long time ago.
I mean, I'm a massive hippie, definitely. But how did I get started with the spiritual? I think I've always been spiritual, and luckily my dad's a psychologist, so I grew up with like an interest in humans and how humans work. You know, that's always been fascinating to me. And then what was the question? How did I get interested in it? Books, having mental breakdowns. No, I mean not full on breakdowns, but you know, when you have like when you're going through a hard time, often that is when you discover, you know, a deeper, broader spiritual interest, because it helps you go, who the fuck am I, and what do I hang on to, you know, when things are hard. And so then a lot of the time, you know, I've gravitated towards things like meditation and tarot cards I really love, and being in spaces with women, and dancing. Dance has been one of my main pieces that I've been working with for a long time, and especially recently, and it's so helpful for many things. So,
do you believe in the law of attraction?
Yeah, sure. I think so. I think so. How would you define that? How would you define that?
It's kind of, I would say, like the universe like usually brings you the things you want if you manifest them. I think that's the easiest way to describe it.
Yeah, I'm just curious because lots of people have different definitions of that. I think want is an interesting word, because I think if your desires are kind of entirely materialistic or connected to just getting things for yourself, I don't know if that necessarily works. I think if your desires are connected with your soul's purpose and your desire to lift other people up as well, and yes, to live like your grandest, most amazing life, but I think it's got to be rooted in what's meant for you, in like a soul aligned way, rather than just, oh, give me a car, give me this, blah, blah. It's just it has to be deeper and more connected than just kind of a frivolous desire, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've known a lot of people who are just like, I want money and it's going to give us money.
Right.
And like, it's never worked.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any advice or suggestions for those with mental health issues?
I mean, I'm not a doctor or a psychologist, so what kind of mental health issues?
Like, because obviously, like, everything spirituality and stuff usually helps.
Yeah.
So what would you like recommend, like, people look into if they wanted to like boost themselves up?
Yeah, okay. Dancing, journaling, definitely. Journaling helps a lot, like especially if you have a lot of mental chatter, which I think a lot of us do, because the world moves very fast and thoughts can be kind of overwhelming. So definitely journaling, definitely moving your body is probably the main thing I would suggest. So if you're doing yoga or even just going for a walk is also really powerful, but dancing, and the kind of dance that I'm really loving is there's a practice called 5 Rhythms, and 5 Rhythms is a moving meditation form that it's like a free form dance party, but it's deeper. You kind of, it gives you an opportunity to dance through your shadow, your light, your joy, your sadness, your anger, all the things. Be ugly, you know, be seen being ugly, so that you can dance out all these kind of archetypes that exist inside of you that don't always get to be seen. And there's a lot of power in that. So 5 rhythms is great. And then the other dance form I'm really into is called contact improvisation. And that is a partnered improvised dance form that drops you into presence and is a really beautiful way to be met intimately with somebody, without having to like have sex with them. So it's a space that's like very, very platonic space that allows you to get that kind of oxytocin that you would receive if you were being intimate with somebody without having to do that. And it's, yeah, drops you right into presence, right into connection. It's amazing.
That honestly sounds so
improvisation.
good.
It's so, and everywhere, like if you Google contact improvisation and then the place that you live, most places, most cities have what's called a jam, and it's where you just go and get to dance with people and roll around, and often there's a class, whatever. So where do you guys live?
Well, I live in Sunderland, so I'm going to guess that there's nothing in my city.
Yeah.
It's just
But
and
maybe
honestly,
Maybe some in
it doesn't have
Newcastle. I
anything.
don't know.
in
Yeah,
Newcastle, I
probably
bet there might
Newcastle.
be. Yeah. Is that not too far from where you guys are?
Well, he's closer to
Yeah.
Newcastle than I am.
Yeah.
I'm
Like
gonna
an
have a
hour
look.
away or something?
Yeah, about that, I would
I'm
say.
I'm about a 30-minute drive from the city centre, so
Oh, that's not too bad.
How are you 30 minutes away? Like, I'm probably 30
the Tyne
minutes
Tunnel,
away.
the Tyne Tunnel. Surely that's
Oh,
just a direct line.
fair enough. You'd have to go the
Yeah.
long way around. I wouldn't go
Well,
that way.
30
Yeah,
minutes is
yeah.
close. In LA time, that's around the corner.
Wow.
Everything's so far away here. Yeah, you guys should check it out if you're interested. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have
It
a
does
look.
sound like a very good way to de-stress.
Yes, it really is. I just did a whole
definitely need
weekend
that.
of dancing, so I'm all inspired.
I definitely need to do more of that because my mental health is literally rock bottom.
I get it, girl. I was right there with you, like literally 2 weeks ago. So it's up and down. Life is, there's no such thing as steadiness. Not really. It's
Yeah.
okay that there are dips and highs, and it's how you manage the dips that matters the most.
Yeah, it's very hard when it gets like very, very bad. You're just like, why am I here anymore?
Move your body, be with people, get outside. Those are the main 3 things I would suggest. Don't spend too much time alone if you're in that state. Make sure you're connecting with people who love you and who you trust.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. Learning to pick myself back up again. I mean, yeah.
Good.
been
It's good to
great.
spend time alone, by the way. Caveat. Spending time alone is awesome, but sometimes it's easy to get into a bit of a spiral if you're just like already feeling shit and then you're just at home like watching Netflix all day or whatever, like
Yeah,
the healthy alone time and then there's an unhealthy alone time. So
definitely. So I'm going to switch on to music. Who are your influences?
Influences for music. Well, definitely Joni Mitchell, who I mentioned before. The Beatles. I love the Beatles. There's some really good modern artists who I love. Cleo Sol, Emily King, Theo Katzman. Those are a couple of amazing new artists who I really love. And then I listen to a lot of music from the 70s. So Rita Coolidge, Crosby, Stills, Nash, John Martin, Marvin Gaye, Roberta Flack, a lot of Motown, things like that as well. So I listen to a lot of different kinds of music, but probably the most things I listen to is sort of 70s soft rock, folk and rock, and soul and R&B, modern and otherwise. So those are my main things, and jazz. I'm just rattling off everything, but I love jazz as well.
I'm along the same lines. I just bounce around all different genres and just like
Yeah,
whatever like takes the fancy at the time.
totally. It's good to do that. Yeah.
That's just about how you're feeling on the day. Like one day you could be really into kind of, modern country, then the next day I'm listening to some punk rock from the 70s, and it's just like,
Totally,
how did I
yeah.
get here?
It's
Yeah.
good. That's why music is so powerful, because yeah, it helps you to either elevate your mood or help you to feel what you're already feeling. Like it can serve a lot of different functions, which is cool.
Yeah, whatever he listens to will come up on my Amazon Music since we're sharing.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Love that. Adorable.
Where did you get your inspiration from for your songs?
People, my own love life. I write a lot of love songs, and breakup songs, that sort of thing. I think a lot of the time, like in terms of lyrical content, I'm thinking about like what I'm going through, what I'm negotiating internally, whether that's mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever kind of flavor it takes. Like how am I working out how to stay alive and be human? And often that figuring out process will come through in the kind of in the poetry.
What style would you compare your music to?
Usually I say 70s inspired soul pop, something like that. Depends if I'm playing live, I mean solo or with a band, because solo it's a bit more country folk, just by the nature of it being solo, but definitely it's soul inspired singer-songwriter kind of confessional music.
If you could write music for any TV show or movie, what would it be?
Maybe, I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but Daisy Jones and the Six seems really cool. It's very me. It's very, like, it's in the 70s. It's very, very me. So something that has kind of a retro feel would be cool. That would be a dream come true. I like writing for, yeah, that era.
That's my questions done, so it's Lee's turn.
You got one
Awesome.
left, Lee, right?
Nice. If you could like collaborate with any artist, living or dead, who would you choose?
It's really hard. But I don't know why this came to mind, but Quincy Jones is an amazing producer and composer who worked with Michael Jackson most famously. And I think is he still alive? He's either still alive or, God, don't quote me on that. But he's amazing, an incredible producer and arranger and songwriter, and I would just completely freak out. Also, Robert Glasper is another. These are kind of niche things. Should I say something more obvious? Let me think. Collaborate with. I'm just gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with those two. I'm done. That's it. You have to guys have to look them up. You have to look them up. You know who Quincy Jones is, right?
Yeah, I think
Name's
so.
familiar, yeah.
Look it up. Look up Quincy Jones, and then Robert Glasper is an amazing jazz soul piano player who's worked with all kinds of incredible musicians. 2 incredible albums, actually 3 he's put out now called Black Radio 1, 2, and 3. So if you like neo soul, or even if you don't, you should still check it out. He's amazing.
Yeah, I'm always looking for like new music and new genres to.
Highly recommend.
Any questions, Lee? Because it's down to you.
Another question, like for some reason, this is a question I always want to ask, like people who do music. If you could only choose to do one, what would you choose? Just record music or tour? You can't do both.
Tour. Yeah. Tour. I love being on stage. It's my favorite thing to do in the entire world. Period. I just love it. I love it so much, and I love recording music too. But yeah, there's something about being on stage and being in relationship with the audience and sharing your songs. And it's just, you're so present, and I love kind of getting into the experience of each song and letting that come through me into the. It's just like it's magic. I mean, it's theater. It's just absolute magic.
If I'm not wrong, you did tour with Nashville, didn't you?
I didn't, but there is a tour coming up I'm trying to jump on.
I saw that the other day when I was
I was
looking.
like, can I come? So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I will be in Europe in October doing some shows in Germany, so we'll see. Maybe I'd like to come to the UK as well. So TBC.
Yeah. Who knows if you
Keep an
jump
eye
on
out.
that tour? They're missing us out. Everyone misses us out on every single tour.
Well, you can travel to London, can't you?
It's like 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah. I would. I mean, fuck it.
And I think it's only about an hour if you get a plane.
There you go. Yeah.
Well,
And then just,
Glasgow's closer.
yeah, there you go.
Tickets are expensive though, Lee.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah. Oh, well, you have to think about it. I'm sure it'll be amazing. We did do a big show at the Opry, which was amazing. Actually, this poster behind me. Can you see that poster?
No.
Yeah, I think.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was from, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boop, there it is. Oh, there's a mic. There. From when we did the Opry show. You can kind of see it.
Was that like the last one?
That was the last one.
Wow.
I remember that because it wasn't a part of like the last episode.
Yeah, we did that one, the last episode one, and then we did like a real concert, like a few weeks later or whatever.
I remember the last episode one. I was bawling my eyes out, like I couldn't
That was
stop
so
crying.
cool. It was so cool, and I got to meet Connie Britton because she came back for us. Nothing, never mind. Anyway,
Yeah, that was very, very emotional.
Yes.
That's one song that I can actually play.
Oh, nice. A Life That's Good. Is that what
Yeah.
you mean? Yeah, that one.
I don't
That's
think-
another one I was gonna say is really sweet. It's a sweet
Yeah.
song.
I don't even think this is in tune because I usually keep it at my grandparents'. I don't know all that.
Got you.
Oh, painted back. That's nice.
Yeah, it's probably the worst idea, but I think I still play. Lee doesn't know the lyrics, I don't think.
I don't think I would remember them either, to be honest.
I would sing, but I don't think I'm that good. Plus, it definitely got copyrighted for. Who cares?
Nobody would care. I doubt.
Yeah.
I seriously.
I'm gonna have a
doubt. I
go.
mean, maybe. Yeah.
Go on.
Go on then.
Sitting here tonight by the firelight, it reminds me I already have more than I should. They just
Yay! Beautiful. Thanks for sharing.
Very good.
Very good.
Thank you. So I'm out of questions. Is Lee out of questions?
I'm out of questions, yeah.
Well, this was so fun. Thanks for having me on, you guys. This is super fun.
It's absolute
Thank
pleasure.
you for
like,
agreeing to come on.
honestly.
Yeah.
Of course. My pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we'll
You're
let you get
welcome.
on with your day because you'll have a long day ahead, whereas we've got a few hours.
Yeah.
That's right. What time is it there?
It's
10 to
5.
Okay. So it's time to get some food and do the things.
Definitely hungry.
Awesome. All right. Well, have a beautiful evening, and I'll excited to see the podcast come out.
It should be out
Thank you.
Sunday, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Just send me the link. I'll share it and everything.
Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right.
Right.
Bye, you
Bye.
guys. See you
Bye.